welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Argold, and this is Ugin Tron. Ugin is an exciting new card from Tarkir Dragonstorm. I got to play with it once already in Legacy, and it was as insane as promised. Obviously, a 7-mana spell should be powerful when you cast it, but Ugin feels somehow even above the cut for that. Argold wanted to see Ugin played in a Tron deck. Tron has been sort of pushed aside in the past year or so. Modern Horizons 3 gave us Ugin's Labyrinth and a whole fresh boat of Eldrazi to play with. And we are using some of those. Ugin's Lab, Eldrazi Temple are in the deck. Thought-Knot Seer, Devourer of Destiny, Ulamog, Sire of Seven Deaths. We have Eldrazi and we have some of that going on, but we are playing Expedition Map and trying to assemble Tron. That classic 1-2-7 gameplay. Tron players know how to count. 1-2-7, off we go. And this is basically the simplest execution imaginable. This is colorless Eldrazi Tron. There's a couple dismembers in the deck. Technically, this is a mono black deck, I guess. One swamp in here because of things like Boseiju and White Orchid Phantom that get played in the format. You need some basics to be able to tutor for. Karn the Great Creator remains just one of the best things you can do with colorless mana in all the formats where he's legal. And this deck is about as simple as it gets. We're just trying to get more mana than we're supposed to have and cast big things. Let's go do it. This is Eldrazi Tron from Argold. I'm on the draw in round 1, and this hand is not there. It has some of the worst high-end things, and it doesn't cast them quickly. I'm going to mulligan. This one does have 3 mana Fleshraker Karn. I'll probably bottom Sire of Seven Deaths and try this. Maybe I'm just supposed to mulligan until a hand can make Tron, but unlike the green Tron decks that have a bunch of ways to smooth that out, I don't. And you just have to have some faith in your deck to deliver, which it has done. My opponent chalked this in. If this gets Spell Pierce, that would be kind of a bummer. Alright, they're on Living End. That's the only deck that does that. Haven't seen Living End in a minute. My Karn board has an Ensnaring Bridge in it. I also have an Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, which doesn't matter. A bunch of Trinispheres. I'll probably be sideboarding those in. Tormod's Crypt. Relic of Progenitus. I got a bunch of stuff to do with a Karn if I can get him down. This is a deck that plays Subtlety and Force of Negation. They could also just send to this turn and put some power and toughness into play. Oh yeah, 2 Street Race and a Generous Ent. That's a lot of power and toughness, actually. But they tutored Hedge Maze, not an untapped land. Hopefully that means I get another turn to set up. Overgrown Tomb, zapped it in. It doesn't look like I'm getting another turn to set up. Here we go. It's time to live to the end. Living End, oh, Flare of Denial in this build as well. A bunch of subtleties. Yeah, no surprises here. Here's these cards. I'm going to search for my tower and see if I can overcome this. Overlord of the Baelmerk, awesome addition to Living End. Good call. Sire of Seven Deaths. I mean, that might be able to race these dopes. 7 power lifelink is a lot. Ugin can just exile Generous and guaranteed even if it gets interacted with. I still take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How do I want to dance around this? If Ugin resolves, I can exile 2 things because I can make mana. Alright, I'm going to go for Ugin first. Just the guaranteed bonk here is worth a lot to me. Wow, resolved. Okay. Make 3 mana. Glaring Fleshraker, exile Curator of Mysteries as well. Okay, we're gaming. And exiling things is really important here because the second Living End can't get them back. Alright, Cycle Street Wraith. We did see a lot of permission go by in the Cascade. Rakshas's Bargain also in this deck. Woo! Opponent is living my dream. So many bangers. Alright, Otawara bouncing Fleshraker, so they have a combat that can clear Ugin. You better do it. Alright, cool. And now Sire of Seven Death in the mix here. If I play Fleshraker, I can play Karn with 3 mana still available. Fleshraker first. Hers is mine. Karn, trigger. Bonkia. Ensnaring Bridge doesn't get them here. I could get Trinisphere. I don't think I want Liquid Metal Coating. Walking Ballista is not the worst thing. I could put it in on 1 and just have an extra blocker. They can't activate Shardless Agent or their food. Got them. Yeah, I think I just want Walking Ballista here. My job is to make the game last longer, and I've done a pretty good job doing that. They're also down to 8, and it can be 7 at will. Oh, right, it's 7 now, because that's how this card works. It could be 6 at will, which means Sire of 7 Deaths is a one-shot. There's that Hedge Maze we saw 100 years ago. Kept a card on top. And drew it immediately. Cool trick. Cycling Generous End. Are they setting up for another Living End? That's not that good. Okay. Shardless Agent. Revealed 2 cards. Living End is on the stack. I'll deal 1 damage to my opponent. And float 2 mana. Scoreboard. And then Living End kills my Glaring Fleshraker and turns their 2 Street Wraiths and a Shardless Agent into 2 Street Wraiths, a Shardless Agent, and a Generous End. Okay. It is technically better. Thought Not Seer. What's up? Alright. Let me see them thoughts. I should have used Eldrazi Temple, but I guess it doesn't matter. Force of Negation and Endurance. I'll take Force of Negation. That card actually matters. Yeah, Power Plant taps for 2 mana anytime. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can play Sire right now. Or I could get something like Ensnaring Bridge and just lock it out. I think I just want the Sire in play. First, because I think this is the first time I've ever cast this card. And second, because it's just really good. And I'll boop a food token. Okay, opponent's at 4, facing down a 7/7 Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Reach, First Strike, Ward Pay 7. They can't remove this even if they draw a Boseiju or whatever they have. They could Living End a 3rd time and flip it. That would be a way out of this. Maybe Karn was just supposed to get Tormod's Crypt. Overlord of the Baelmerk. Got a Curator of Mysteries, Shardless Agent. Okay, so they can send it again. Alright, yeah, I should have gotten Tormod's Crypt. That was a spew. Alright. I get Glaring Fleshraker back and Walking Ballista. Oh, Halo Forager. This list is awesome. Alright, Living End happens. My opponent gets to draw a card. Glaring Fleshraker does trigger off that Walking Ballista that was briefly in play. Okay, I just need a couple of colorless spells to cast now. There's 1. Is there anything in my sideboard that's 2 spells? And I think Ensnaring Bridge is the safest grab here. Okay, Ensnaring Bridge, Eldrazi Temple, Bridge, trigger, put you to 2. Mindstone, trigger, put you to 1. Draw a card immediately with Mindstone. If it's a colorless spell, I win. And if it's not a colorless spell, we play on. Draw a card. It's a colorless spell. And they will die with Karn on the stack. Sweet. Just overcame 3 Living Ends in game 1. That was fun. And I punted. Didn't matter. Alright, Trinisphere is coming in. I don't want to have to Karn for those. I just want to cast them. I have a Relic and a Tormod's Crypt. I want to leave 1 in for Karn, and it's probably Tormod's Crypt. And I'll board in Relic, Trinisphere, Stonebrain. I don't want to have to engage them with removal. All Is Dust is great. Chalice of the Void's insane. Ugin, Eye of the Storm. Got me through that first Living End. What a boss. Might be Ulamog. But that's not really where this game is going. And the Devourers do help you get Tron. They're also good at exiling threats. Kozilek's Command, main deck Graveyard Hate. I think I can go -1 Devourer. And Sire is fun and sweet, but I don't think it is actually right here. That is -1. That's -2 cards, -3 cards that turn on Ugin's Lab. That's something I have to think about a little bit. Fleshraker making blockers and actually killing them is pretty nice, but I think I'm going +1 Devourer, -1 Fleshraker. Okay, let's try this. I love when the card that inspired the deck shows up in the first round of the video and just does the job. This is Tron, keep. And I get to reveal a Devourer of Destiny. That way when I have natural turn 3 Tron, it doesn't even look suspicious. Okay, I'd love to see a Chalice of the Void in this Devourer of Destiny trigger. There is a Kozilek's Commander and Ugin's Lab. Ugin's Lab does come in and tap for 2. That that gets me Glaring Fleshraker a turn earlier, but gets me Tron a turn later. That's not worth it. I'm going to keep Kozilek's Command on top. I'll play Power Plant and pass. Hedge Maze. That is less scary than a cycle. Dumped Sink into Stupor. Watery Grave, Shocked In. Overlord of the Balemark, the Sicko. I found a Street Wraith, a Curator of Mysteries, or a Foundation Breaker. Yeah, Overlord milling and then picking up Shardless Agent is so cool. Picked up Street Wraith. Okay. Mind Stone, what's up? I got something to do with my mana. Now you're in trouble. Cycled Street Wraith in the end step. Hey, they could send it here for 9 power that also breaks my Mind Stone. I guess it's 11 power because of the Shardless Agent as well. Ooh, they suspended an Ineffable Betrayal. Fascinating. So they're on a pivot here. That's kind of scary, actually. Chalice on 0 is pretty good. All right, how do I want to sequence this turn? I think it's Fleshraker, Karn, Chalice, in that order. Fleshraker first. Subtlety, Pitching, Force of Negation. All right, we got them on the hook for 1 pitch. Do I want this on the top or the bottom? I think the bottom's fine. I don't really need that. I'd like to draw some more mana at this point. I got a handful of stuff to do. All right, Karn. Grab Tormod's Crypt. Just in case. Play it first, and then play Chalice on 0. Okay, that should cover most bases. Obviously, they're a deck that can play Force of Vigor. We've seen Foundation Breaker. There's a lot of things they could do here, but they've also been presented with a lot of problems at once. Turns out when you have 8 mana on turn 3, you can really test the limits of an opponent's interaction. Another Overlord. I think I actually want a Crypt here because I don't want them getting back Foundation Breaker, and you can get back anything. Yeah, all right. I am going to Crypt here. Might be a little weird, might still miss. Steam Core Scholar. When this enters, draw 2, discard 2, unless you discard an instant or sorcery or a creature with flying. Fun. Scholar, Curator, Subtlety are the options. Took back the Scholar. Cool. Overlord's ticking down. They know I have Devour in hand. They don't know about this other one. Devourer can exile Overlord if I care. I could get Torpor Orb that turns off Foundation Breaker and that Scholar thing they just tutored for. I have 8 mana. Yeah, I think I want Torpor Orb. It also turns off Subtlety for what that's worth. And then I'm still holding up Kozilek's Command here. The Betrayal goes off next turn as long as I can protect my Chalice. That still won't do anything. One of the Overlords is down to 1. Drew a land. All right, here's one of my Devourers. Boop the Overlord that's about to wake up. If they end step Force of Vigor, that's pretty powerful. I could wake up my Torpor Orb and actually bash for 2 here. I think it's safer if I just target nothing. And I can still command for 1 if necessary. Bargain, sweet. I was wondering what instant they had in the end step. Are they just going to like flash in a Subtlety to attack? But Bargain makes a lot of sense. If Bargain hits Force of Vigor green card here, or even Otawara, but I boarded out Ulamog and Emrakul is in my sideboard to begin with, this Inevitable Betrayal is going to get like a Thought-Knot Seer or something. It's not even that good. I only have 1, or did I board in this other Sire? I thought I caught 1. Yeah, I caught 1. Okay. I have the biggest creature in my deck in my hand already. Betrayal, they chose not to bring it off Suspend, which is a corny rules change that I still don't agree with, but it is something they're allowed to do now. Back in the day, when you suspended a card, you had to cast it, whether you like it or not. And just like a year ago, they changed it so it's optional, which I think actually makes the game worse for that to be the case. Just the flavor of, I've invoked magic so powerful that I couldn't even stop it if I wanted to, is so sweet. And the game design space of, you have to commit to this if you're going to do it, also sweet. But now, just like everything else, appealing to the lowest common denominator. Somebody felt bad that their living end went off one day when their opponent had a better graveyard than them. And then the rules had to change. Okay, opponent is almost dead. We're at the Flash and Subtlety as a 3/3 flyer phase of the game. They need that to block right now. They could beat up Karn with it, but I'm not worried about Karn, and I'm at 20 life. All right, here we go. They can't Living End until they deal with Chalice, so I'm not worried about getting Wrath here. They can't deal with Chalice with Foundation Breaker, so I'm not worried about that. They would need, like, Boseiju specifically. Steam Core Scholar. A 2/2 flying with no abilities thanks to Torpor Orb. Ugin's Lab. I'm going to play this without Imprint, because I like all the cards in my hand. Or I could tuck the Sire. Am I going to cast that? Probably not. Alright, yeah, Sire can go in there. And Karn for Ballista is lethal. I have multiple ways to try to win the game right now, and I'm going to start by exiling Steam Core Weird. Or Steam Core Scholar. Steam Core Weird is a different thing. This one went to college. It's less weird now, it's a grown-up. And I'm going to Scry Draw. I just don't actually care about their graveyard. They would need Force of Negation to fend this off in the first place, and then Karn is lethal following it up. Force of Negation, pitching Halo Forager. They did it, kind of. Karn the Great Creator. Sacking Subtlety for Flare of Denial. Sweet. Alright. They managed to survive this turn, but they have nothing going on, and they're at 1. They will need to deal with Chalice and resolve Living End here, or show me some other cool card I haven't seen yet. And they've had enough. Sweet. This matchup feels like it's pretty good. Just your ability to actually tangle with a medium-sized Living End in game 1, and then the massive wall of hate that you bring in after that feels good. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw for round 2. I have Eldrazi Temple, Urza's Tower Expedition map. Dismember and Kozilek's Command are pretty good. I will try this. I'm going to see what the range of keepable hands is here. If I just top deck E-tron land, I'm in business. Aether Vial. So we're playing against a non-Ketramos version of Orzhov Sewer. You usually can't fit Aether Vial and Relic of Progenitus into this shell, but this is a deck that's going to have access to that annoying card I said, the White Orchid Phantom. Okay, I could Chalice on 1, which would turn off things like Ephemerate moving forward, or I could lock up my next land drop, and I think my next land is more important. Here's Felia. Dismember might be headed that thing's way. Depends on if they play something that I need to worry about getting flickered before then. It looks like Felia's just attacking for 2. Grizzly Bear. Come get some. Flickering out my Expedition map. This comes back at the beginning of the next end step. Alright, I'll just use it, whatever. If this is a trick, they got me. Ugin's Lab actually seems like the best thing I could tutor for, but that is a really bad one to get destroyed. I could pick a Tron land at random and hope to draw the other one. Yeah, it's either Ugin's Lab or Power Plant or mine. I think I actually want the lab. That turns on Kozilek's Command better. Yeah, alright. That's in. I know Felia follow-up is pretty exciting. Oh, I should have picked Ursa's Mine. Now we know. Oh, Cruel Fate. Okay, I'm going to exile Ulamog. I think All Is Dust and Ugin are better and more useful cards than that in the matchup. And I can Kozilek's Command for 2 or Command for 1 plus Dismember. If I make creatures, I can do both. Yeah, I'm probably going to exile Felia. They're still not doing anything weird. Yeah, I'll probably exile Felia and make dopes in the end step. Okay, here we go. Make 2 dopes, exile target creature. Oh, I can do this for 3. I have Eldrazi Temple. It's even better than I thought. Hold on. Make 3 dopes. They could Ephemerate or Flicker Wisp or do something here, but I still get 3 dopes, and then I dust them or Ugin them or whatever. It had no response. I'm untapping with 7 real mana. Oh wow, they're fatal pushing. I am going to sack it just in case I end up needing to dismember something out of Aether Vial right now. This mana could be useful. But they're showing me why they haven't dumped a bunch of creatures into play yet, it's because their hand is the mono removal pile. A Chalice on 1 would have shut down so many cards. Now we know. A Mind Stone. I have Urza's Power Plant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana for anything. 7 mana for Eldrazi. I don't have an Eldrazi. Or I could All Is Dust. Destroy nothing. Pass the turn. That doesn't sound like a good play. Okay, 1, 2, Mind Stone. And then Chalice on 1. Okay, that turns off my future Expedition maps. But it turns off their Ephemerates, Fatal Pushes, future Aether Vials. I don't even know if this deck plays 1-drops. Thoughtseize is probably in their deck. Mana number 4. Oh, look at me. Look at me with my Tron. Just drawing cards, and it's Tron. Wop! Having fun yet, opponent? Ugin, nothing to exile, unfortunately. I'll just have to draw cards and let them concede. Sweet, okay. If they didn't have their White Orchid Phantoms in the main, they certainly have them now. Pithing Needle can name things like Aether Vial, but I also have Karn that shuts that off automatically. I could put Torpor Orb in my deck, but that does seem like the type of thing I'd rather have 4 copies of with Karn. Torpor Orb does solo their whole life, though. Yeah, the only thing I'm even considering is Pithing Needle. And where would I put it? I think I'm just not going to sideboard. Deck's already perfect. Karn board intact. Let's get it. Whatever. Okay, this is a turn 3 Thought Knot, and potentially significantly more if I spike the mine. Opponent mull to 6. Godless Shrine. I'm gonna... Oh, well, I was about to say I'm going to play Tower first because that's one I have 2 of, but now I have 2 of each. So I'll play the one that taps for less first. Overlord of the Balemark. That's not a White Orchid Phantom, but it still could be. Giver of Runes, Aven Interrupter, Solitude. They did have other 1-drops in the deck. Good to know. They took back Giver. Fascinating. I drew the wrong Tron land, but I do get to play my Mind Stone. Another Overlord. That hit Witch Enchanter, which, if they were about to miss a land drop, that works here. Gets their Giver down. Cool. The engine is all coming together for them. And there's Giver. And me with All Is Dust in my hand. Glaring Fleshraker. I think it's a Thought Knot Seer turn. I want to know what's going on over there, and then build a plan around it. I'll play a second tower, so when I spike Tron, I have more mana in play. I'm just like, basically 100% to draw Urza's Mine next turn. I know how Tron luck works. I've tapped into it pretty well so far this league. If they have a Solitude in their hand, okay, they did have a Solitude. I think I just take that. In Flicker Wisp, turns on Overlord faster. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm actually going to take Flicker Wisp. And I'm not really worried about my Thought Knot Seer dying. They do get to replace it with another card, but I am grinding my way towards cooking their entire life. Alright, they just immediately Solitude. Their hand is Orcish Bowmaster, plus whatever Thought Knot draws. And I just need to still be alive when I get to 7 mana, and then the game ends. White Orchid Phantom, okay, they're probably going to go after Power Plant. I will use the ability. I have plenty of colorless mana. I'm going to get Swamp. That does change whether I can go off immediately when I draw a mine. Okay. Witchblessed Meadow was their draw. That means Orcish Bowmaster is their hand. I got plenty of time before these Overlords are a problem. Chalice. That's fun. Okay, so Glaring Fleshraker. And then Chalice on 1. And ping you. I ping you. Bowmaster doesn't kill Fleshraker here. They could try to shoot my Eldrazi spawn, but I can float mana in response, and then they don't get an Orc army. Okay, here's Bowmaster. But keeping me off 1 mana might actually be really important here. Sack that. You don't get an army. You're 13, Hellbent. They have good draws in their deck, but right now the situation favors me. If I draw an Eldrazi Temple or Urza's Mine, I'm off. And any lower cost colorless card also gets Glaring Fleshraker going nuts. They drew a land. Overlord goes down to 1, which means it wakes up in their next end step. Okay. Here we go. Fleshraker number 2. And now I'm going to rake their flesh so hard. They take 1,000,000 damage from that. And then here's 1,000,000 more. Pew, 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 pew. This card is so dumb. Okay, I could draw a card with one of the Mind Stones now that I have 3 extra mana, but what's the rush? I'm not worried about a lot here. Some deep lore. When Modern Horizons 3 came out, Glaring Fleshraker was the first card I ordered. Before Nadu, before any of the cards that I actually like and play with, Glaring Fleshraker was the one that was like, yeah, this thing's going to be real dumb. And it was. Okay, they attack me down to 20 life. They've got me back to my starting life total. Unlucky. The Overlord wakes up, and then my opponent dies to all his dust. Yeah, Ephemerate, just firing that directly into my Chalice. We got him. And now the game is literally over. They're going to lose all their permanents, but also they actually just die to damage this turn. Can I draw the Mind to really rub it in? We got an oops in the chat. Don't worry, opponent. It didn't matter. You were dead anyway. Devourer of Destiny. The All is Dust is better. Goodbye. Each player sacrifices all permanents they control that are one or more colors. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of yours and 0 of mine. Just good deck building. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round 3. 2 Urza's Towers and a Swamp is not going to get me where I want to go. Mulligan. This is worse on the surface. How much do you trust a Devourer of Destiny? Devourer would have to find Ugin's Labyrinth for me to even really be happy here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go to 5. The old green Tron decks that had Sylvan Scrying and Ancient Stirrings and everything, you could go to 4. Yeah, like so. All right, I will keep this 5-card hand that has turn 2 Chalice to the Void, turn 3 Ugin. How does that sound? The Tron Mulligan. Power Plant, go. Thoughtseize is the card I'm worried about, and I'm worried about it right now and not in the future. I guess Counterspell could be a problem. We'll see what they got. Mistress Bauble, should have Chalice on 0. Oh no. Wow, would have cooked him. Oh my god, it's Affinity. Yeah, Chalice on 0 actually would have been insane. Temio. Urza's mine. Chalice. I could put Chalice on 0 here. Is that actually better than 1? Yeah, I looked at an Affinity list real quick, and even though this is a turn behind schedule, I think Chalice on 0 is actually better than Chalice on 1. They have some portable holes, some Tamios, and like Haywire Might, but they have a lot of zeros, a lot of Moxen and stuff. Metallic Rebuke is the card I'm slightly concerned about in this moment. There's Haywire Might. But if they have to spend a turn dealing with Chalice, that's fine. They don't really have to do anything of the sort. Emery, okay. I hope I draw something I could cast with Ugin's 3 mana. That would make this really easy. Or I could draw a 10-drop. Well, I have Tron. They have Portable Hole, Thought Monitor. Yeah, it's Ugin. I'm going to cook Emery on the way in. I think I'm more worried about her than I am about Tamio. And then I'm just going to draw a card and gain 3 life. Eldrazi Temple. The Devourer can exile Tamio next turn and any other colored permanent they play. I can also cast Ulamog next turn and exile any 3 permanents, or Tamio plus 2 other permanents. Tamio and your 2 lands sounds pretty good. Thought Monitor, draw some cards. This flips Tamio. They missed out on a clue with that sequencing. I don't think it's going to affect the outcome, just clocking it. There's Mox Amber straight into the Chalice. We did it. That's 3 opponents in a row who, I guess my one opponent declined their suspend, but Chalice has gotten an actual card off of all 3 opponents so far. And you're dead. I'd like to add 3 colorless mana to my mana pool. I'm going to exile Thought Monitor, Tamio, or do I care about Tamio? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's better to tap this one because I am casting an Eldrazi. All right, Ugin, exile Thought Monitor, Ulamog, exile Tamio, and Hallowed Fountain. Cool. I don't know how I lose this. All right, opponent agrees. Sweet. Natty Tron, willing to go to 5, paid off. Right, opponent is an affinity strategy. A lot of 0 mana spells and spells they want to reduce the cost to 1 or 0 within the deck. I think Trinisphere is pretty good. Dismember is fine. Sire of Seven Deaths seems mid. All is Dust. There are a lot of artifacts. Their actual cards that win are not artifact, or they are artifacts, but they have color. There are both colored artifacts and colored non-artifacts in the deck. Chalice on 0 actually is a cool button to push. I'm on the draw, though, where it's a lot worse. Yeah, I think I might cut Chalice of the Void here, and I could get an All Is Dust back in just in case. They're definitely going to be on board by the time I get going. That's kind of their deck's whole thing. And then I'll board that Chalice back in when I'm on the play. I have a turn 3 Thought-Knot Seer, turn 2 if I draw a 7-drop. I think this hand is good enough. It's not turn 3 Natty Tron into Ugin, but, you know, can't win them all. Mox, Spire. Neither Mox is on at this moment. Now one of them is. Here's Emery. All right. Yeah, this is the nut draw. Oh, interesting. Now I can set up a Path to Tron, but I have to dismember. I don't think the Path to Tron is that important. Eldrazi Temple kills Emery now, and I can Kozilek's Command Tamiyo next turn. Yeah, I'm just going to dismember Emery immediately. The Tamiyo turns on Opal. And maybe with them having missed on milling over an artifact. Oh no, there's a Kappa. They wouldn't have been able to cast that. I'm not sure if I made those decisions correctly. And here I am just rolling into Natty Tron. That's fine. I accept. Power Plant pass is my line here. If they crack their clue in the end step, I'll eat Tamiyo. If they don't, I'll eat her in the upkeep. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Kozilek's Command. Exile target creature. And do I want to spawn? I think I want to scry one. Yeah, I'm going to scry one, draw one. They've drawn 0 cards so far this turn. There's one face-up draw they could use, but doing that would turn off Mox Opal. They could Metallic Rebuke, but that would cost some mana. A Trinisphere. I don't think I'm interested in this right now. I'm going to have to deal with Urza's Saga. Yeah, I'm going to bottom that. Ugin, okay. Constructs do not have color. You know how when your weird boomer aunt says she doesn't see color? Ugin only sees color. He is not hiding anything. He's like, yeah, I care a lot about the color of my enemies. Cancel Ugin. They have a tapped artifact land and just leaving up construct activation. I'm going to see their thoughts and knot them up right now. Or they're going to counter Thought-Knot Seer. Those are the possible outcomes. I'm a little worried about these constructs. I'm not going to lie. Not sure what my plan for them is at this moment. In drawing Karn, spiking Ensnaring Bridge, or Karn just starting to boop off their Moxen. Both pretty powerful. 2 holes. Alright, I'll take one. Opponent is riddled with holes. Right, already a 5-5, a 6-6. I'm going to have a 7-7 crashing in here. If they have Lava Spur Boots, it's going to be a lot more. Yep, Lava Spur Boots. Should I have Pithing Needle in just to name Urza's Saga? It seems like this game would be unlosable, except if this exact thing happens. They should play the Portable Hole. That would be a forced block. I am going to block. Save what damage I can. Need something big here. Oh, Karn certainly freaking qualifies. All right. Well, here we go. Urza's Tower. Just ripping the best card in my deck. Tron Luck. Count it. Karn the Great Creator. Make a wish for Ensnaring Bridge. Making sure nothing is better than Ensnaring Bridge. I don't think so. Bridge. Ensnare. And I'll dump out this Expedition map just in case. They have to, their one unknown card has to be Metallic Rebuke here. Okay. I'll play out the Expedition map, just get my hand a little emptier. That is an Ugin trigger, an easy Ugin trigger I won't have in the future, but I don't think that's what the game's going to be about. They couldn't channel an Otawara here if they have one. They just don't have enough mana. They need some, like, bounce spell. Okay, Wear Tear works. Cool. All right, the one unknown in the hand got it done. Chalice has come back in. Is Trinisphere actually good, I guess is the question. Obviously, if it's in play, it's very good, but then what? My ways to get it into play are Ugin's Labyrinth. That's the only way to do it quickly. Needle could come in for Saga. That's 3 cards. That would just be the Trinisphere's out. I think on the play, this is my package. Or I could cut All Is Dust. That didn't do anything. Trinisphere. I could cut a Mind Stone. I don't know. Ulamog cleans up sagas as well. Sire of Seven Deaths tangles with them. Yeah, I'm going to just go one Trinisphere and then the Chalices in the Needle. On the play, 2 of my Tron lands, a Dig, Trinisphere. I will keep this. I reveal Devourer. Devourer triggers. I don't get this card right now. I get it next turn because I'm on the play. Okay, Expedition Map is there. That is a route to Tron. I guess I will keep the Expedition Map, even though I'm not that excited about it. I'm going to go Power Plant, Needle. I'm just going to turn off Urza Saga right now. This lets me use all my mana. I can Mind Stone into Map next turn. Tap Hallowed Fountain. And pass. Holy smokes. That is not a good start. What does that mean their hand is? Why would they keep a hand that's that slow? I'm a little worried about that. But my hand is very fast. I have 5 permanents in play at the end of my second turn, and I'm threatening 7 mana. Spire. Portable Hole. I could put my map in a hole. Reasonable. And they passed. How about this? Chalice on 0 and Trinisphere. Alright, let's hope this is weird. Portable Hole is a permanent with color. Urza Saga, we did it. That is Sleepy. Power Plant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not there. I can draw a card with Mind Stone if I feel like that's important, but I currently don't. They can wear Tear here. There's nothing to tear, but they can wear something, or the other way around. They can use one of them, the red side. Probably on Pithing Needle if they have it. Okay. Well, the plan is revealed. They can make some dopes. I do need to do something here. Oh no, not like this. If I draw a card and it gets me Tron, that's really good. If I draw a card and it's Eldrazi Temple, then I wasted my 7th mana. Alright, I'm going for the draw card. Feel like I gotta do something here. Well, there's Eldrazi Temple. Now if I'm a mana short from casting these Devourers, I deserve it. Alright, I think my boots are about to get Lava Spurred. But they didn't develop mana last turn, which is pretty significant there, because all their Moxen and stuff are just frozen out here. Portable Hole being an artifact with color means that it shrinks the constructs while giving me my map back if I draw a land. Taking 4. They tutored a Mox Opal. That's a way to get it into play under the Chalice. Come on, Jack! Alright, well, my Tron luck is running out. I'm going to take a Gajillion. Thought Monitor, paying the 3 mana. This puts me to 6 damage. Or 6 life. I take 10 damage to 6 life, is what I'm trying to say. If we go to cleanup, I need an untapped land. No! My own Trinisphere is going to kill me here. I can't get... Does it cost 3 to play this thing, then 2 to activate it, then I'll have 5 mana on the back end? Alright. Ultimately killed by my own Trinisphere, but also just kind of ran bad there. Alright, cool. I imagine that matchup might be tough. If you don't lock them out, they do put a lot of stuff on the board quickly, and the constructs are pretty good. On to the next round. The 9th installment of the NYSE Vintage Open Series is coming. This 15 proxy vintage tournament with Power 9 prizes takes place on Saturday, June 14th, 2025 in Long Island, New York, and has a $500 entry fee. That's a hefty entry, but the guaranteed prizes for top 8 are unlimited Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. The NYSE Open 8 went well for me last year. Someone better come stop me from getting another Lotus. Will it be you? I'll be at the NYSE Open 9 on June 14th, and I hope to see you there. Register on melee.gg or use the link in the video description. I'm on the play in round 4, and I have Ugin's Lab X2 with one thing to pitch to it, and this thing can dig. I am going to keep this hand. This is more the Eldrazi ramp side of the deck than the Tron side, but it is the side we have access to, so I'm going to use it. Okay. Devourer of Destiny has been revealed. Glaring Fleshraker, Eldrazi Temple are my reasonable choices. I think it is Eldrazi Temple by a mile. Okay, Eldrazi Temple's on top of my deck. I'm going to play Ugin's Lab and exile Devour and pass. Off we go. A basic island. Oh, it's Mill. Okay. My Emrakul's in the sideboard, but let's see if I can get something going here. Thought not seer you. This is a lot of damage very quickly. I'm glad I'm on the play. Ruin Crab, Glimpse, and Fractured Sanity. Let's see. Karn can kick in next turn. What does he do here? It grabs Elixir of Immortality. That rules. Okay. I'm going to take the Ruin Crab and make my opponent cast spells if they want to mill me. Watery Grave. I milled 3, lost a Dismember. That actually would be a little useful here. Glimpsed. Lose 10 cards. Doesn't really matter what they are. Chalice of the Void. Well, that's not a card I want to cast. How do I want to do this? Probably just play Karn this turn is the answer. Attack for 4. That's definitely happening. Yeah, Chalice on 1 turning off my own Elixir is a bummer here, because that would be a pretty good turn otherwise. Alright, I'll just cast Karn. And I think I'm gonna minus, but I'm not gonna get the Elixir here. What do I get? Just Walking Ballista? Or Liquid Metal Coating? Yeah, I think I'm gonna get Liquid Metal Coating. And I'll pass. This deck could play Thoughtseize. They could also play Drown in the Loch. I just want them to kind of be... If they do have one of those cards, I don't want them to be able to take the card that I'm actually worried about. Undercity Sewer. There's one unknown card in their hand. They dumped a Field of Ruin. And glimpsed me again. Okay. I have perfect info. I'm gonna... Oh, okay. This mills for 14. If I Elixir right now... Alright, how much mana do I actually have? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's plenty. Alright. I get to Fleshraker here. Gotta win the game somehow. Fleshraker, Ugin's Lab. Exile Ugin, put him in the lab. Ugin's been in the lab. I'm gonna get the Elixir of Immortality and pop the heck off here. Just scooping to it. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. We bring in Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. It's in the sideboard literally for this matchup. And I don't think I do anything else. Dismember does kill the crabs. All is dust. They don't really have permanence. I mean, they have crabs, but not... My opponent has crabs. Nerd. Sire of 7 Deaths. These both turn on Ugin's Lab. All right, yeah, I think I'm just going to turn in All is Dust into an Emrakul. And that's that. I've got a Chalice and a Devourer. Devourer, not necessarily reliable. I guess they don't do a lot of milling on turn 1, do they? Knowing the Emrakul is in my deck somewhere is worth something. Having Karn available is cool. I am going to keep this. Ugin's Lab is the card I would like to see most on top of the deck with my Devourer. Right, Devourer doesn't even trigger till my upkeep. There's not a lot they could do to mill the card. Power Plant. Yikes. Alright, well, I'll take Expedition Map. That was the wrong Tron land to behold. Map. Land. Off we go. Expedition Map does turn on Archive Trap, but it's the only card in my deck that does that. Oh, they've been to Surgical. That's good news for my Emrakul. Grab. Fetch land. Urza's Mine down. Urza's Tower, let's go. Alright. That's a little awkward because if they have Surgical, they did randomly spike a Mine here. I'm going to play Chalice now. And if they do have Surgical as part of their package, let's shut it down. Watery Grave in response. Ulamog's in the graveyard. Consigned to memory. Fair enough. Okay. Trying to get that under rather than have 7 mana immediately was a little bit of a risk, but with Consigned to Memory, Surgical Extraction, there are cards I have to be worried about here. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Did it get my Emrakul? I don't see her. No, I think we're safe. All right. Did it get my other 2 mines, or other 3 mines? I got 1. All right. Map. Get one of the remaining mines. Mine. Expedition Map. And pass. They're down to 2 cards. Emrakul's still in here somewhere. Field of Ruin. Oh, that card's really good. Are my basics accounted for? One of them's in my hand. The other's in the graveyard. Yes, this is just Strip Mine. It's a Strip Mine that mills me for 1 million. Emrakul's still in the mix, though. Draw for turn. I was about to ask, do I have any towers left? But there's one right now. That makes it easy. Okay, I think I want to Devour this crab. That's been doing too much. This also puts damage on the board. If they have Consigned to Memory, that's not something that mills me. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, or a combination of Graveyard Hate plus Mill, are what I'm worried about at this point. Preordain. You got it. Bottom. Ruin Crab. Okay, now I actually have to check if there are towers left in my deck. There's 1, 2, 3. I think there is 1 tower left in the deck. All right, I'm going to map for it and hope I counted correctly. I wasn't very thorough, just quick looks. They were good enough. All right, tower, Fleshraker, Karn, Ping You. I can play and activate my Elixir this turn. Elixir of Immortality. Play it, get a Fleshraker trigger, and I am just going to fire this off. If they have some sort of graveyard hate, all right, cool. Didn't even have to show them the Emrakul. Karn did enough. On to the final round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in the final round, positive record locked, bread and butter 4-1 on the line. I'm gonna mulligan this. There are only 22 lands in this deck, despite it having so much mana, and I need just 1 to kickstart it. If this was Ugin's Lab, I'd be in. If one of these creatures was Devourer of Destiny, I'd be in. But as it happens, I'm going to mulligan. Okay. All of the things I just said about the last hand are now true. I'm going to keep this and Mindstone or Expedition Map. I think it's one of the Mindstones. All right. Mindstone to the bottom. Done. Reveal Devourer. There's a Devourer trigger. I have Lab into Mindstone into Expedition Map already lined up, regardless of what the Devourer actually shows me. Marsh Flats. I could get Thoughtseized here. Oh, not from that land. Ocelot Pride. All right. Finally being tested by the best deck in the format. Eldrazi Temple is a land I can play with. Yeah, I'll take the Temple. Just lock up my next land. Ugin's Lab. Exile Devourer. Play. Mindstone. Play. Expedition Map. Go. It's going to be a race to Ugin here. Or all is dust. Ocelot Pride hit me. Static Prison, taking the map. That's actually great for me. That's totally fine. I'm more interested in the Mindstone here. Hey, Karn. What does Karn do? Karn could get Liquid Metal Coating, and then we're just off to the races. Karn could get Walking Ballista and kill Ocelot Pride. Or no, this doesn't tap for 2 this turn. Okay, well, I'm playing Temple, and opponent missed a land drop. Galvanic Discharge can hit Planeswalkers. I have to consider that. Yeah, I think I just want Walking Ballista. I'm not going to be able to get Hellbent, but I might be able to kill some of their stuff. Ballista in the grip. Okay, if they have a burn spell or a dashed Ragavan or something like that, they can clear Karn this turn. If not, I get to another turn of gaming. They did pay the energy to keep Expedition Map locked down. If they're attacking Karn, then they don't have a burn spell. That's good news. They could have land Goblin Bombardment. Okay, they were just using combat to bank energy. All right, that's clever too. I accept. That is a decision you're allowed to make. Thought-Knot-Seer, okay. Putting a big creature in play is good if it gets to stay in play. Okay, I'm going Thought-Knot-Seer. We're pivoting. While they're tapped out and can't discharge this, they banked energy for a reason. All right, Flage, Thraben Charm, a Johnny. All right, I'm taking Thraben Charm. That's the card that messes me up the fastest, I think. Okay. Well, now I know why they kept their hand. Gotta hope they missed that land drop and passed the turn. And they're just done. They don't want to play anymore. Cool. All right. We stole that one. Opponent's Sketchy Keep did not materialize. To the sideboard. Do I sideboard? Here we are again. the classic question. I don't think I'm bringing in a single card here. I'm going to send it as it exists, and this is what we got. I could bring in Relic. They do care about Flage, and I don't need Relic and Tormod's Crypt in the sideboard. Is there a card that's worse than Relic in my main deck? I'm not convinced there is. All right, no sideboard. Right in. Okay, I have Tron available, and probably the best card in my deck. I'm going to keep. I could get Blood Mooned. This is something they have access to. We're not going to talk about that, though. La 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 la. What's Blood Moon? Never heard of it. A power plant map. And they could spend Static Prison on Expedition map again. I'm pretty okay with that. I do have lands to play. Ooh, March of Otherworldly Light. Okay, yeah, permanently removing it. Also fine. I still have stuff to do. I have a Thought-Knot Seer next turn. And then it's just a matter of time. Arena of Glory. Scary. Am I getting mooned? Fable. Okay. Big Tron. Oh, that is Big Tron. But I have to wait a turn. I can have 2 mana right now if I go all the way in. I could also Thought-Knot them, then play out the map based on what I see. I could also hold on to Kozilek's Command. I think I'm going to play Eldrazi Temple and Expedition map and pass. Because the Kozilek's Command can delete the Goblin Shaman, and if they loot away a Flage, it can deal with that, or I could just put some creatures into play. We'll see what we got to do here. I discarded Galvanic Discharge. Begin combat. I think I'm going to go Exile and Scry 0, draw a card. Target player scries X, draws a card, exile target creature. Yeah, the thing about tokens is they don't have a mana cost. And Kozilek's Command is busted. And there's another one. Easy peasy. You got it. Critical Mass of Fable the Mirror Breakers. Just as many of those as they're allowed to play. Discarded 2 Ajanis and hit their land. I have heard legends on the streets of decks going Jeskai to splash for Consigned to Memory. I'm just going to hope I'm not playing against one. Get the mine. I also can't have room for Thought-Knot Seer here, so I don't even really need to worry about all of that. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, here's Tron, and then Fleshraker into Thought-Knot, and I'm still holding up a Kozilek's Command for 2. Boop. Okay, we're getting a fetch. Do they have... Did I see Hallowed Fountain game 1? No, I saw Sacred Foundry. It's literally the only land game 1. It looks like my Fleshraker's getting discharged. That's fine. It did its job. Got a card out of your hand, made a mana. Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride. I don't care about either of these cards, but I guess I'll take the Ocelot Pride and pass. Okay, they're running out of stuff to do. All is Dust next turn. Puts them in the garbage. There's Guide of Souls. And a Johnny. They don't have a sack outlet. This is fine. They can jump a creature. Like, they could get in for 4 right now with Seasoned Pyromancer, but then I go to 16 and they just lose anyway. Deal. Okay, choosing to use the Elemental instead of the Pyromancer to do this. I guess playing around removal. The funny joke is I didn't have to remove it no matter what it was. Okay. Can we get a concession? Goodbye, all of your stuff. Seasoned Pyromancer is still technically in the graveyard. That costs 5 to do, so they would need to hit a land, and then the payoff is make 2 jerks. Okay, if this hits Flage right now, there's a game to play. I could still just exile the Flage, but okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kozilek's Command. I'm gonna scry X and make X friends. I'm not worried about the Pyromancer in the graveyard. I should have gone 4. I just get to see an extra card and it's the same. Okay, bottom, top. And Thought-Knot Seer isn't very good here, but it's literally anything that does anything, which is what I need. Just something that applies pressure. I'll take it. Okay. I'm just going to play Ugin and see if we can get a concession. We're done. Can we be done? All right, gain 3 life, draw a card. Karn, the Great Creator. Cool. Karn, the Great Creator. Don't get to exile anything. So sad when there's no targets, but the opponent did pack it up. And there it is, a 4-1 record, only losing to Affinity, against whom we got soloed by Urza Saga both games, and game 3 also involved stumbling on mana and tripping over my own one of Trinisphere that was in my deck. Okay. I mean, this was really powerful. This is not normally the type of Magic I enjoy playing, but I had a lot of fun doing this today. Ugin, Eye of the Storms. Definitely a good way to spend 7 mana. I'll say that. I'll just say it. You getting rid of the thing on cast, obviously insane, and then the triggers add up so fast. I can read, like I do have reading comprehension. I could read what the card did, but until I started playing games with it, I didn't really realize like, oh wow, yeah, you could just exile like 4 cards in the same turn, especially with the 0 add 3 ability if you sandbag a couple expedition maps or whatever you got. Pretty bonkers, that one. I felt like most of the games, you know, except for the one that I lost, imagine that the mana came together fine, even without Sylvan Scrying and Ancient Stirrings put together Tron. The Eldrazi Temple and Ugin's Lab did enough to put it together, and you have your expedition maps to cover. Devour of Destiny doing a lot of work there as well. Sweet deck. Ugin is a sweet addition to it. I don't know if this is better than the Eldrazi ramp decks. I know there's like Gruul and Teamer Eldrazi builds that don't bother with Tron and they just have talismans and stuff. Those seem to be better performing in the metagame. And if you are a agnostic ramp gamer, maybe that's where you want to be. But if you like colorless Eldrazi Tron, this has my seal of approval. Argold, thanks for the opportunity to play this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.